Welcome to another episode of Breaking Mayberry, the show that explores old television to figure out why everyone's brain is broken and why everything sucks right now. I am one of your hosts. I am Marty Schneider.
That intro is taken on such a life of its own. I'm Dan Ludwig.
And before we go any further, we do have a special guest in the studio with us today. I'm very excited. The co-host of some of my favorite podcasts, History Honeys and Sex Archie, which is about Riverdale. And also one half of the Let's Play duo Chip and Ironicus, and a guy who does a whole bunch of other stuff. Hey, Grant, I just realized do I just introduce you as Grant?
Yeah, that's my name. My name's Grant. It's nice to meet you. Hi.
It's on you. I don't know if we did your last name, but that is your Twitter handle as well. Like, your Twitter name is my name is Grant.
It's true.
So, welcome to Grant.
Hello, everybody.
I thought I wasn't going to fuck up, and I did.
It makes you sound like a more definitive being. You are monosyllabic. You are Grant.
I'm the Cher of podcasts.
Yeah.
Like Bono.
I was thinking more like a god in a 70s movie. Like, you descend from the heavens and tell, like, Sean Connery to kill people.
Ladies and gentlemen, Grant!
Yeah, that's the way to say that.
Grant, thanks for being on the show today.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm already sorry.
No, I'm so happy to take time to talk about a television program where people aren't being shot in the woods. That's nice. It's a much calmer, cooler life in the town of Mayberry than whatever's going on in upstate New York on the CW these days.
Yeah, Grant, for our listeners who are completely lost right now, can you go ahead and just tell us what you are on the internet and how?
I mean, you covered a lot of it. You can find me talking about Riverdale at Sex Archie. You can find me talking about history topics at History Honeys, doing an actual play podcast at 6feetsunder.com. That's FEATS because it's a gaming pun. And doing Let's Plays at chipandironicus.com. You might have caught me on the recent F+'s Garbage Day stream or anywhere else that also has me as a guest. I'm prolific, I guess.
You are actually probably our biggest guest so far.
Yeah.
So you were our big get.
Yeah, no, I mean, if that list of credentials didn't already establish that.
It establishes that I have a microphone and don't get too much sleep. That's what it establishes.
Yeah, I was about to say, just how are you a being? Like, what are you made out of? Jesus Christ.
I got a lot of opinions, not a lot of friends, so I got to do something with the free time.
That'll do it. But we can one day, approach that level by just driving away everyone around us.
And I think you're off to a good start, having listened to this show for a while.
I mean, I tell people about the Andy Griffith show now, so...
Yeah.
On dates! He does this on first dates! It comes up!
It has come up against... Just when I run out of material, I'm like, well, this probably isn't going well anyway.
When you come out of material.
Yeah.
So you're also doing your tight five on dates.
Yeah, no, when they're like, so what else do you have going on? And I'm like, crap. I guess I'm talking about the Andy Griffith show now.
That's how I used to describe my dates. Yeah, she was a tight five, I'd say.
Yeah.
Okay. In Dan's defense, though, everyone does, their same routine on certain
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's got the same monologues prepared. Everyone's got, here's the anecdote that makes me look good. And here's something about my mom. Everyone does that. That's not exclusive to Dan.
Are your anecdotes supposed to make you look good on dates? Because I am not accomplishing that. They're all just good stories that make me look like just a sad alcoholic from college.
So we don't have time to unpack that, but let's move on.
Yeah.
Do we have any? I don't think we have any announcements or anything today. So I think we can pretty much just go into our episode.
Which, thank God Grant is here because I am honestly kind of afraid of this episode. Talking about
does it radiate a powerful energy?
Just talking about the, like, saying that we're going to talk about the show feels like I'm being lowered into, like, the gorilla exhibit at the zoo. Like, I feel in danger with this episode.
What people don't know is that the actress that plays Thelma Lou was housing a powerful demon, and during the filming of this episode, it escaped into the film stock.
What if you watch this episode enough times, just they find you alone in your room just with like static radiating from behind your eyes?
This will be the subject of an upcoming Blumhouse film, yes.
100%.
It's a scanner situation, essentially. Like, just a huge pop. There's just like, that's going to be fun to edit. So I gotta say, this is one of the meanest episodes of television I've ever seen. What goes on in this episode is meaner than anything I've seen on, like, Seinfeld or It's Always Sunny or You're the Worst or shows that are trying to be mean.
It's one of the darkest episodes of a TV show I've ever seen, because you have two options watching it, which is either take the events, like, as they happen at face value, which none of the things they're doing make sense, or draw some conclusions about the events of this episode, and you can only go to the darkest conclusions. We should start talking about what the fuck we're talking about.
All right, yeah. So here's the one-sentence summary from Wikipedia. Barney joins the Mayberry choir, but proves to be a terrible singer. Not wanting to hurt Barney's feelings, Andy must find a way to keep him in the choir, but neutralize his singing. So that's the intro to the episode. The episode that we are talking about is Season 2, Episode 20, Barney and the Choir. Originally airs February 19th, 1962, written by Charles Stewart and Jack Ellenson, and directed by guy who has a 10:30 reservation at the downtown IHOP, Bob Sweeney.
Banned from not one, not two, but 3 Frank Sinatra open mic nights, Bob Sweeney.
Only ever cries when Mr. Holland's Opus is on, Bob Sweeney.
1985 Pontiac Fiero in a human body, Bob Sweeney.
Guy who does finger guns at every single staff meeting, Bob Sweeney.
Voted Eisenhower in 1968, Bob Sweeney.
His black friend laughed at that joke, Bob Sweeney.
A character that Golden Age Batman straight up murders, Bob Sweeney.
Met his third wife on his first honeymoon, Bob Sweeney.
Capitalizes the first letter of every word in his Facebook comments, Bob Sweeney.
He keeps his socks and gloves on during sex, Bob Sweeney.
Way too into his town's high school football team, Bob Sweeney.
B to the O to the B to Sweeney, giving you advice like Mr. Feeney, gives the direction to Barney's erections like John Cena, you can't see me.
His cologne is just called Leather Couch, Bob Sweeney.
Forward, I saw this and thought of you, Bob Sweeney.
And Grant takes the round somehow.
Shit.
I thought that John Cena rhyme was going to be my fucking barn buster.
You rapped and you still lost.
All right, so thank you to Grant. You can go home now. We'll take over from here.
Yeah,
we're good. Bye, Grant.
I'm already home.
Go further home, deeper into your house.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's get into this. Oh, actually, before we get into this, I want to ask you a question, Grant.
Yes.
So most of the time we pick the guest to fit the episode, but this time we gave you the list of episodes and told you to pick one. Why this one?
Because it was coming up soon, and I like your show so much. I didn't want to wait.
Aw, that's real sweet.
Aww.
I mean, not funny at all.
But it's true. Like, I wanted to. I was looking at like the next dozen episodes. Their titles, their one sentence descriptions, and especially their guest stars. And then I realized I have no idea who any of these people are. I don't have anything to say about any of these 1960s TV character actors. I don't know them.
I mean, none of the character actors are anybody. Like, when we go to their Wikipedia, and it's always some extremely sad life. Like, it looks like he was in 3 roles, and then, Cary Grant ran him over with his car. I guess that's this guy's career. He played a good mailman.
I can't wait. We get later. I've got a real good character actor that appears in this episode to talk about. So I'm excited.
Sure.
I'm excited for this. So let's just launch into this. So our first scene is Barney putting up like wanted posters.
But that's not how it starts. Because I want to ask you two a question. How come you never talk about the friendly announcer man?
Oh,
why do you never talk about the wonderful radio voice trying to sell me life insurance?
The Andy Griffith Show.
Yes,
starring Andy Griffith.
I love that man.
I've always found the intro weird because it's just so straightforward. Like, it's just like, this is the Andy Griffith Show. It stars these people. End of thought. Like, it's just like they didn't write anything. It's not like, welcome to the Andy Griffith Show.
I want it to end with, and that's the end of the opening. You were supposed to learn the information I gave you. That's the point.
My name is Tony. Have a nice day. Like, it's
in case of emergency, your seat can be used as a flotation device. Like, I guess we've just never done it because I kind of always thought that the Andy Griffith Show intro was so ubiquitous. Like, if you know one thing about the Andy Griffith Show, you know the intro. And so I guess we
know the whistling.
I guess. I actually kind of wanted to maybe throw some money at someone at Fiverr and get an intro for us. It's Breaking Mayberry, starring Little Danny Ludwig.
Oh yeah, no, we tried to do, when we were doing our ad, we took turns trying to do that voice and both failed.
It would make so much more sense though for your show because it feels like a real holdover from radio dramas, radio serials.
I think that's got to be why they're doing it, right? Like they want to have that.
We hadn't yet transitioned to the idea that the visual is doing that job. You don't. This is redundant now.
Yeah.
Okay. On the off chance that you don't know what the intro to the Andy Griffith Show is, it's the whistling that you're very familiar of, and it's just Andy and his son Opie walking down a dirt road to a fishing hole. And by the way, the fishing hole is the name of the song that's being whistled. It was also the initial name of this podcast before we settled on Breaking Mayberry, which is way better. Mm-hmm. And an announcer guy says it's the Andy Griffith Show, starring Andy Griffith and Ronnie Howard, and also Don Knotts. And Frances Bavier, who plays Aunt B, I don't think ever gets into the credits, which is horseshit.
Yeah, I mean, they gave the lady who played Ellie, oh my god, I can't believe I forgot.
Eleanor Donahue.
Donahue. They gave her, like, third billing, didn't they?
Yeah, they definitely did that.
Yeah. Deeply soothing voice, presenting almost no information. They don't even do, like, that thing that, like, old sitcoms would do where, like, all the characters would, like, look to the screen kind of, like, startled and happy.
They don't do the thing where the lyrics of the theme song tell you the plot of the show. And I always like when shows do that, because it's like an overture. Now I get what we're going for here.
What is the plot of the Andy Griffith Show, though?
Good question. We have no idea.
So, I mean, on surface, there is a town, and there are people in that town, and one of them is Andy, end of it. But I think what we put together is, it's about a sheriff slowly consolidating power, and really rising up with a totalitarian government into sort of a, like, benign dictatorship.
And you can't really rhyme totalitarian with anything. The meter is all wrong.
I know, and God help us, we've tried on this show many, many times. There's maybe hours of deleted footage just on the cutting room floor that you can only get as a Patreon subscriber. But, okay, so, to the episode.
So Barney is putting up wanted posters that he just got in the mail, and he's singing. And he's singing specifically about his side piece,
He's
Juanita.
Singing a dirge to mourn Juanita.
Yeah!
From the tone, the speed. I believe Juanita may have been recently murdered, perhaps by one of the people in those wanted posters. It makes the most logical sense.
Or maybe Thelma Lou killed her because he's just, like, singing about his mistress in open. He hasn't been hiding this, and he's only getting, like, less and less subtle every single day.
Right.
Yeah, he's not complimenting Juanita in the song. He's just repeatedly saying her name and really drawing out the Ida of it.
Well, yeah, he's still in mourning.
Yeah.
It's a hard time for a guy.
So he's very bad at singing, and, well, not very bad. Like, that's one of the things that bugs me about this episode.
He's very bad.
Yeah. He's off key on purpose.
Well, no,
Don Knotts is being off key on purpose, but he's very off key and very bad. And Andy is trying to do anything. He's like, to start a conversation, do anything to stop him from singing. Like, you want to talk about something? Anything interesting? Those posters? What's up? Let's talk about this. And Barney keeps ignoring him and keeps on singing.
And then Aunt B rolls in. Barney sees himself out for just a quick throwaway reason, and then they start talking about how Barney's singing is transcendently bad. It defies all logic. Which, I mean, it's pretty bad, but it's I think what kind of makes it worse is it's realistically bad. It is how a person would actually in real life do a bad job at singing. It's not he's not doing a cartoon character voice or anything. He's just very, very, very flat.
Yeah, and Andy goes on to talk about how it's not necessarily that he's bad, it's that he's just bad enough to get under your skin, and presumably this has been going on for all the years they've known each other.
Yeah,
this is a retcon, too, because we've seen Barney sing before. We've seen him harmonize with Andy. We've seen Andy even tell him to jump in and sing on stuff before.
We all know that continuity between television episodes was not invented until 1979 by Mobile Suit Gundam. Everyone knows this.
Yeah. No, the 100% tracks. They were
That tracks.
Mobile Suit Gundam was actually known as the show with continuity, and then after you've been watching for a while, I think there might also be fucking robots in this. Yeah, no, back then, you would see, episodes, wildly out of order and, months apart. So, fuck it. Yeah, who gives a shit?
Yeah, no, again, being super nitpicky, this was never meant to be watched the way that we watch it. Whatever, move the fuck on.
Yeah. Barney, comes back in and starts immediately singing, and Ampy, who's been it's not that bad, just relax, immediately tries to make him eat a sandwich, just forces a sandwich into his mouth. And then her and Andy are just really eat it, savor every second, keep your mouth full for the entire time that we are here.
It is a good thing that Aunt B brought her patented peanut butter and epoxy sandwiches. It does seem the right recipe for the day.
I almost said peanut butter and cock sandwich, but I meant the carpentry material, and I was that's gonna sound so different. I couldn't hit the L in that spelling hard enough.
So the plot enters in the form of a guy named John Masters. We've never seen him before, and he's apparently the choir director for, I don't know if it's the town choir or the church choir or whatever, but he's a choir director, and he comes in and he tells Andy that their first tenor has just dropped out. He's got a new job that sends him all different places, and he can't make practices anymore. And
this choir director has clearly been sweating over this. I imagine that's why his suit appears to be 1.5 sizes too large.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not swimming in it. He just looks like he shrank a bit. We put the choir director in the dryer on accident.
Does anyone else get the feeling that the choir director looks like Barney Fife from an alternate dimension?
Yes.
But the good dimension, where things are going great. He looks like Barney Fife, from another world where he went to college and got his shit together. And got that jowl surgery.
So, you all know where this is going. Barney begins to sneak around and kind of do some weird acting here, where he's
weird acting.
Boy, that's too bad. My old voice teacher used to say that a choir without a tenor is like a star without a glimmer. You know who said that? My voice teacher, when I studied voices.
So just
he's real doing like a Steve Buscemi thing here. Or like a sling, like Billy Bob Thornton Sling Blade, stare off into the distance kind of thing.
He's squirming a lot and rolling his eyes around in his head. It's really weird. He's making some very weird decisions to look like he's thinking.
Let me just drop a hint. Let me drop it closer. Let me drop it on your foot. Come on.
Yeah. Get this hint up in here.
And the hint does make penetration into John's job. And John goes, "Oh, you studied voice? What part did you sing?" And Barney, of course, says first tenor. And so John Masters is the choir director, goes, all right, you're in. Come join us at practice tonight. And Andy gives a great look, like superb acting on Andy Griffith's part here. Just the look on his face as he's trying to like correct him, go, nope.
Yeah, so Andy Griffith sees what's happening here. Like, there's a shot of him, like, noticing Don Knotts having an idea where he's like, oh no, he's about to tell a giant fucking lie. Which he definitely, like, he lies. He's like, oh yeah, I'm a trained singer as a first tenor, coincidentally.
Not everybody who has training is good at what they do. I'm willing to believe he studied voice. From a book.
Right.
He studied the 3rd chapter of Voices.
I'm even willing to believe that, like, maybe in school there was a music teacher that taught him some stuff. Like,
on one hand, this character lies constantly, like just about literally anything. On the other, I mean, it wouldn't be crazy for him to have a voice teacher who was also too afraid to tell him that he's a terrible, like,
because of the guns.
Yeah. This could just be his curse in life, his, like, Greek curse.
It's entirely possible that Barney did have a voice teacher before driving them to suicide. There's a reason why he doesn't have a voice teacher anymore. He just goes through them, just wears them out. Like,
and that teacher's name, Juanita.
The Mayberry Music School is just a bloodbath.
So the director asks Barney to join, and somebody says, Barney says, wait till Thelma Lou hears about this. She'll be thrilled. Hard cut to Thelma Lou, who is just screaming with her eyes.
Yeah, okay, so she says, like, he can't sing, and I have, like, the quote written down, because, remember, the episode starts with him singing the name of his maybe mistress, or maybe just the woman that he is desperately pining after all the time. The quote is, he's a warm, wonderful person, and I love him dearly, but he can't sing. He's kind, considerate, the most gentle person I've ever known, but he can't sing. He's the man I want to marry, the man I want to father my children, but he can't sing, not a lick. So
this is an evil twin situation. There's another Barney out there.
Yeah, are we talking about the same Barney? Kind, considerate, gentle?
I want to meet her Barney. Where's the good Barney? I want to meet this gentle, fatherly Barney.
The first trick is to be in severe denial about where you're at in your life, and then encounter Barney Fife, and then, boom, you've met him.
I need to explain to Thelma Lou that there is a difference between gentleness and incompetence at violence.
Yeah. He's tried to do harm very many times. It's just his weak little body. It feels like petting.
The word that's killing me is kind and considerate. Because, I don't know, it was like 2 weeks ago that he ran a man out of town because he lost a checkers game.
Yeah.
Like, he caused a man's psychotic break.
He was kind of a jerk, and he was considerate of his checkers record. I don't see the problem here.
I really, the line that breaks it for me is, I want him to be the father of my children, and I'm like, that seems irresponsible. Whatever, I don't know what's wrong with his head, but you can't
Just in case it's genetic. Just in case it's genetic.
Gonna chalk this up to another case of Thelma Lou deserves better, which is just a rallying cry on this show.
This poor woman. I want to, like, start a trust fund to get her out of this town.
So the next scene is the choir practice, where they sing the only song I think they know, which is good old 14A, which is actually called, Grant, what is it called?
This is called Voices of the Woods. It also goes colloquially by the name Welcome Sweet Springtime, as that is the first line of each verse.
Yeah.
But it's an old song. It's over 100 years old. If you want to find the sheet music to have your own Andy Griffith tribute show or LARP or anything like that, you can find it available at the Library of Congress website in PDF.
Grant dropped it in our chat for the episode, and I'm flipping through it right now. It's available. It's there. It's a terrible song. I want to point that out. This song sucks.
I mean, song fucking sucks, man.
I don't know if I'd say that it sucks, but I do know that they sing it about 12 times and only the same 10 seconons of it over and over again.
Song 12C is Hey Ya. Just flip a few pages back. Come on, what the fuck, man?
The things this episode does with this song is like Guantanamo Bay torture, where it's just, welcome to springtime, over and over and over and over. Like it's trying to break you.
They start to sing, and our choir director realizes, well, somebody's very flat. They sing again. Nope, someone's definitely flat. So Barney, being Barney, sneaks up and he says he's going to volunteer to move around and find out who the flat singer is.
This choir is 12 people, max?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's not a lot of room to move.
No.
Right.
And he's trying to be like the choir Gestapo. He's immediately just volunteering to be the choir narc.
Yes,
yeah, exactly. Yes. That's what Barney does. He's like, "Hey, what's up? How's this situation going? Do you need a narc for any reason?"
Yeah, every good choir needs a conductor, an accompanist, and a snitch.
He is finding bold new ways to be a snitch. Just exciting frontiers of narking.
Every day at 2:55, Barney rides on a bike past the schoolhouse and just yells, "You forgot to give them homework!"
That reminds me, where is Opie? Who is watching the very fragile, dangerous child?
Oh, that's true. All 3 adults in his life are in that room. So.
Jesus.
His entire family and their closest friends, and I'd say about 40% of the town, are in this room together. Where is the child?
I feel like you've introduced something into this show, a question that we haven't been asking a lot, which is, who is watching Opie? Because that happens a lot.
I mean, I don't think we've seen Opie for like 8 episodes.
He burns down barns left unsupervised.
He just burned down a bar like a week ago. You just finished teaching him that he can't do that. And now you're just like, he'll be fine. He can watch himself.
He can chill out.
Well, the way I see it, his lesson's been learned. I don't need to teach him no more. I'm Andy Griffith.
Grant, can you do that for me one more time? Just especially the I'm Andy Griffith part.
I'm Andy Griffith.
From Motel 6. We'll leave the light on for you.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, what it was a podcast.
We're clipping that.
Yep.
Yeah. Alright, so Barney proceeds to narc.
And then eventually everybody figures it out. Like, the choir teacher figures it out first, and then everybody else figures it out. Like, oh shit, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
And maybe we should have, like, had him audition or something before we just gave him the first tenor in this.
Yeah, because this isn't just some podunk small-town choir for funsies. There's a competition coming. There's judges.
True.
There are judges at their next concert to, like, gate the competition entry.
They're in a step-up scenario with this choir, and they're going to be caught completely flat-footed.
Yeah,
emphasis on flat, clearly, but
we should have put that in. There is something somewhat resembling stakes here, yeah, which is a novelty for this show. But yes, there will be judges for like the state singing competition at their next concert, who is going to determine whether they qualify for the state singing competition or something, whatever.
Whether or not they go to regionals.
Yeah, if they fuck up this concert, then they don't get to compete or something. That's good enough.
Yeah.
So
I just want to point out real quick that like the reaction that Masters and the extras have when they realize that Barney sucks at singing, it's not like casual, like arms crossed, like exaggerated grumpiness. They're all like playing it upset. like everyone is horrified and like basically they're doing the acting as if someone had just shot Andy Griffith in the head in the middle of the scene. And they keep doing that throughout the episode. It's really weird.
So back at Andy's house,
Mm-hmm.
Thelma Lou enters the living room, and basically they're like, "Were you followed? Does anyone know you're here?" Like they're planning to assassinate Lincoln. And
Yeah, and she describes the way that she got there, and she was like, I had Barney drop me off, I waited until he'd driven away, and then I slipped out the back door and came here on foot. So, she's like...
Yeah, she's dressed in her fatigues.
Yeah.
Her face is all smeared in mud and green paint.
Yeah. No, a kid saw me, I had to take him out, but anyway, I think he's not gonna find us.
That's where Opie is. Damn it.
Yes.
So the choir director, Masters, says that he's called this emergency meeting. And Andy's probably thinking, well, thanks for volunteering my house, dick.
Yeah.
And he says he's going to kick Barney out of the choir, which I should remind everyone is his job.
Yeah.
That is what he's supposed to do. But it would have been his job to hold an audition. I'm sorry, we have to hold Masters a little responsible for this shit. Like,
No.
this is mostly on him.
The guy said he had credentials. He said he was trained. I mean, he should have checked his resume or just been like, oh, your singing teacher whose name was... And then Barney would have been like, Jonathan Sing Teacherton? Like, and then he would have been like, okay, well, you're not in it.
But, no, horse shit. Like, no matter how good your credentials are, you still have to audition for stuff, right?
Okay. So you're saying that both Andy and the choir director are at fault. You're saying there should be no sheriffs and no masters.
Yes, no
Okay.
sheriffs.
No gods, no kings, no choir directors. Yeah, that's exactly what we're going for. But yeah, so I mean, I'll take his. They were on a time crunch. The guy said he was a trained singer, and they were like, his back was really up against the wall. And when Don Knotts was saying that he was a great singer, Andy just stared at him. So I placed this pretty squarely on Andy's shoulders.
All right, so anyway, he's going to kick Barney out of the choir, and Andy's like, well, you can't do that. And
not on the same day you invited him to join.
Yeah, you can't do like
tomorrow then. Tomorrow then.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it kind of reminds me of they're so skittish about hurting Barney's feelings in this episode that it kind of reminds me of the episode of The Twilight Zone where that kid had psychic powers and could kill them all with a thought. They're like, you can't upset Barney. He can't dare know that he can't sing. Otherwise, well, I can't say. It feels exactly like that, but kind of like crossed with that Jim Carrey movie, The Cable Guy. It's so... Yeah, so if Andy says they can't do that, Master says he has to, or Barney will literally ruin the entire choir. And then Andy just says, well, there has to be another way.
And they kind of play hot potato with a little bit, like Thelma Lou, you tell him. No, Aunt B, you tell him. No, Andy, you tell him. And then Master's like, I'll tell him. Master's just fucking cold at this shit. He doesn't care. He's like, I'll tell him. Let him hang himself in the fucking jail. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. The best was Andy's like, Thelma Lou, you're his girl. And Thelma Lou's like, Aunt B, he likes you. And Aunt B's like, I fucking hate him. Andy, you actually like this person. You take care of this.
I gotta say, I feel like Thelma Lou knows exactly where she ranks. Because it went from, you're his girl to, you're someone he likes.
Yeah.
She passed that ball. Apparently girlfriend doesn't pull rank on this one.
Aunt B, he's never shot you.
I'm sorry, Aunt B. I just lie back and think of England so that he doesn't, go murder someone in the night.
Yeah, am I not doing enough to control this man's murderous rages? I'm being Thelma Lou. Can someone else take one for the team once?
It cannot all be on Thelma Lou.
Yeah.
Justice for Thelma Lou. Anyway, so they're just like, well, we got nothing we can do. Andy says, well, maybe he'll fall down and break his mouth, which is, a weird curse to, set on your best friend.
And to which they cut to the next scene, but Master should have been like, ha, no, but seriously, what are you going to do? But then they're just smash cut to the next practice.
Which is at someone's house. I don't know. It's a hidden, clandestine choir practice.
I'm starting to think, like, okay, you remember that episode so long ago when you two went on for an hour about when Andy said that, you know, it's their duty to make sure a little crime happens just so that cops have something to do?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If this is what happens in the absence of crime, he had a point. He was onto something.
I mean, yeah, no, Barney just kind of turns into a musical demon that torments the poor people of Mayberry, just traveling from door to door, singing his haunted songs.
Grant, you may have a point there, because I have, like, a hunch, and based on what we've seen so far, that, like, all of the Andy Griffith episodes that actually involve a crime, that involve, like, Andy and Barney bumbling dipshit cops, those are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, I actually enjoy those. And then all the ones that are just like, oh, the town of Mayberry and its wackiness, I fucking hate.
Yeah.
They're all garbage. So,
if Andy had a real job, he wouldn't just be meddling with this choir business all the time.
Yeah.
Fucking Mary Worth-ass motherfucker.
But they've also keep being like, hey, Barney, have you fixed that stop sign yet? And he's like, I'll get to it. I'm busy fantasizing about murder. They have some, like, non-crime shit for him to do, and he's just like, no, I need to go sing in people's foyers.
Let me just play the harmonica, and I'm surprised there was no harmonica joke in this.
Incredible. I feel like they abandoned that in season 2.
Thank God.
Yeah.
So they've got a secret choir practice, so now they're inconveniencing all 14 people that are in this, like, this thing. They're sneaking around like they don't want to be found by the Gestapo. So they're having a secret practice.
Barney Fife, proud member of the Gestapo, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Barney keeps finding them. And Masters is just like, or you could let me fire him. You go, no, and they start to sing good old 14A. We get the first 2 lines. Welcome, sweet springtime, we'll greet thee in song. And doorbell.
So this moment crystallizes what this episode is. Because this episode is a shitty sitcom. But this episode is a great horror movie. The doorbell rings and everyone freezes, and all the extras, again, they're doing the most severe acting choices. They're like, all their eyes go wide and they're like, please, no, he can't have found us, please. And then, like, Masters starts slowly walking towards the door, like he's walking towards, like, the gallows. And then, like,
I mean, the shot of him opening the door is very, like, it's very like the shot of opening the door in The Thing from Another World.
Yeah! And honestly, if they had just quickly cut to one of the people in the choir quietly sobbing, it would have been not even a little bit out of place. But then
this is what I think horror music sounds like.
Yeah, no,
or just like one of the women doing the Hitchcock scream, putting her hands up to her face.
As Barney, like, bursts through the door like a fucking xenomorph, just like, hey, everybody!
I'm surprised he didn't have the axe.
Yeah! He just the gangly waving his arms like, hey, everybody! It's Barney here to join choir practice. Through a crazy series of events, I happened to be in front of your house, and I heard you sing.
Dan, I love your notes sometimes, because you have a note written here that says, everybody looks like they're in hell.
They do. They start to sing, and everybody's eyes are screaming. It's insane. Everybody is so, like, visibly unhappy.
So next scene, we're back in the jail, and Masters is like, I'm going to fire this guy because otherwise whoever's in charge above me is going to fire me because I'm not doing my job.
That's definitely how choir directors work, where there's a seniority change.
There's seniority,
and it gets all the way up to the Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Yeah, no, Masters is going to have to turn in his badge and his gun if he can't get this choir under control.
So the concert is the day after tomorrow.
But again, they dwell on the need to solve this problem. We can't have Barney sing, but we can't tell Barney he can't sing. They talk about protecting Barney's feelings with all the weight, like deciding who's going to shoot Old Yeller.
I'm so sick of this. I'm so tired of protecting this fragile little man's feeling.
He's bad at so many things. We can let him know about one of them. Just let him know about one thing he's bad at. You have so many options.
So given the series of events and how convoluted
I want to see Barney Fife run for president. And no one has the heart to tell him that he would be very bad at it, and he wins with 100% of the national vote.
Or no one tells him he lost, and he just, like, tries to fight his way through the White House gate.
Well, hey, Andy, they won't let me in. Andy!
So, I mean, I tried to not, like, jump to a conclusion on this, but given the lengths they go to keep Barney from knowing that he's bad at singing, and just, like, the fact they're just, like, can't tell him he's bad at singing, I kind of couldn't help but draw the conclusion. I was like, if Barney finds out that he's bad at singing, he's going to kill someone else or himself. Like, he's going to climb a clock tower with a rifle.
I'm still stuck on this President Fife plot. Oh my god, that would be the best way to wrap up the series.
God.
They don't let him know he didn't win the election. He goes off to Washington. He doesn't understand why no one's respecting him. He shoots the real president. It's just like Charlie Goudeau. 100%. And that's the end of the series. The hanging of the mad Barney Fife.
That just in complete denial, just like he can't fit the idea that he's
trying to pardon himself from in prison because he still believes he's president.
He didn't even tell anybody that he was running. He just was like you know, like Lincoln didn't campaign for president. Like he just like just sent a letter to like to the election commission just saying like, hey, I'm running, and then was like couldn't fit the idea that he hadn't won into his head. I think statistically one of our listeners has to write fanfic. If you could just like crank that out for us real fast, that would be awesome.
Send us this. So, joke I should have told about 3 minutes ago. Dan, it doesn't matter if he climbs up into the clock tower with the rifle because he's only got the one round, so it's not a big deal.
That's true. But then why are they afraid? Because they don't react with like pity. They're not like, we'll break the poor little guy's heart. They're like, no. He can't know. He can't know he's a bad singer. Are you kidding me? No. God, no. Please, anything but that. Like, it's fear. They're afraid of him knowing this.
And, in fact, this leads into Andy's final conclusion, which is that after supper tonight, we'll take him in, set him down, talk to him, reason with him, and then tie him up and put him in the closet. We have to physically bind this man until he calms down. Like,
what is he going to do? He's gonna do something if he finds out that he's a bad singer, because he's going to have like just this flashback to all the times that he thought he was a good singer and wasn't. Like he probably did like 8 talent shows and just immediately like have a psychotic break.
You can ask for all the fanfic you want, but I want the recut of that scene where they take out the laugh track and they just linger on Andy for a bit as he sits in solemn determination to carry out this plan.
Given what not having a laugh track does to like Seinfeld, I'm pretty sure that Andy Griffith's show without a laugh track could be considered a lethal weapon. Like you could drop that into hostile nations and just level city blocks.
So they go and talk to Barney at Andy's house, and they're gonna talk to him, but Barney says, "Oh, you know what? You're right. We haven't been practicing enough. It's time to sing good old 14A. Well, come see drinks." And then Opie shows up. Opie's there, and Opie is the only person around who's just like, he sucks. He sounds terrible.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, they have to cover, like, Aunt Bee and Andy have to cover Opie's mouth, because Opie, as we all know, human loudspeaker. Opie will stand up on that piano and just, like, get a little megaphone and go, "You suck!"
Hey, Barney, shut your fucking mouth. I'm gonna direct Apollo 13 one day. I'm untouchable. Fuck you.
Yeah, no,
That's exactly what Ron Howard sounds like. Every episode of Arrested Development sounded exactly like that. Good job, Grant.
I'm going to do an entire Star Wars in a week and a half. Fuck you.
The second that they stopped filming the Andy Griffith Show, he started sounding exactly like that. They were like, "Wait, take Ron." It's like, "It's Ron. I'm going to direct Apollo 13. You'll call me Ron or Ronald. You know what? You don't deserve Ron."
George Michael and Maybe found themselves in an embarrassing situation.
That's gonna make sense, and I'm gonna blow your fucking mind.
You know what makes these happy days? When you shut your fucking mouth. That's what makes these happy days.
What's happy days? Don't fucking worry about what's happy days.
It's for me to know what's happy days and you to find the fuck out.
I'm little Ronnie Howard. I'm a time-traveling man who's trapped in the body of a child.
And you thought my brother was the weird one. That shows what you know.
We're bouncing somewhere between, like, construction foreman, Italian gangster, and 50-year-old chain-smoking woman.
So, that one character from Futurama.
Yes. What the fuck are we doing here? They start to sing.
What show is this?
They start to sing, and then Andy has a master plan, which is gaslight my best friend.
Yeah. Convince my friend that he has throat cancer. Let's just escalate the living shit out of this.
Well, he talks about a giant lump, but they try to convince him he's contagious, so it's not throat cancer.
Yeah, so Andy looks in Barney's mouth and says, "Oh my God, there's something going on in your throat. You gotta go. You gotta go. You probably got strep throat or something or whatever. We don't have fucking vaccines. Like, get the hell out of here."
Hey man, just real quick. You're about to fucking die. You probably can't sing. Anyway, go home, make peace with whatever god you worship. Get the fuck out of my house.
Well, Barney, your glands are gonna explode.
Oh, Barney, your throat is more pus than throat. I can't even see the inside of a neck in there.
Barney, you're looking like a bullfrog back there.
Well, darn it, Barney, you're not long for this world. Better go home to die.
So they kick Barney out, and then, like, the next scene is, I don't know, 2 hours later, there's a doorbell, and Barney shows up, and he's like, "Hey, guess what? I'm not sick. I went to the doctor. We stopped by his house. And I'm fine. I'm fine. My throat is the same as everyone else's." He does this real funny bit about that lump you saw. That's a uvula. Do you know that you have a uvula? I got a uvula. They got a uvula. You got a uvula. All the God's children got a uvula. It's actually real funny. I like that.
I had no idea that they quoted the end of Rocky IV from this. I love when Sylvester Stallone gets up and screams, "I got a uvula, and if you got a uvula, maybe we all got uvulas." And the Politburo claps, and it's amazing.
And, you know, we can all just kind of be united in the fact that regardless of our differences politically, religiously, culturally, we all do have uvulas. And I think we can sort of gather around that as like a campfire of humanity.
I'd like to buy the world a uvula.
So I do want to point out that they go to Dr. Kravitz. They stop by Dr. Kravitz's house. So
his dick falls right out.
Just
you
to be
beat me
clear,
to that joke. I wrote down Dr. Kravitz, and I was like, no one else is gonna think of the Lenny Kravitz dick joke. Everyone else forgot that happened. Fuck.
So they go to Dr. Kravitz. So I just want to say the score right now is black people seen but no names, Jews named but not seen.
Yeah.
That's
named
the score.
And then quietly cursed under your breath. Like, goddamn you, Dr. Kravitz.
That's the score. Just so in case you're keeping track, which I am.
But yeah, so Barney woke up the town doctor in the middle of the night to look at his throat so that he could sing in the choir. Again, horror movie. You can't escape him. You think you got him?
He's so excited. Like, I love Barney's childlike innocence in this episode. He wants to help his friends win the big singing match.
Counterpoint, no. He does not want to help. He wants to sing in the big singing match. He could give a shit about his friend.
He just happens to think that his skills are entirely, key, the necessary capstone. He's the MVP in the big singing match.
What he thinks is that all of his friends suck ass at singing, and that without him, they are 100% doomed. That no way in hell are they passing. So he's just like, oh, my poor piece of shit can't sing for crap. Friends need me. I better bang on the doc's door at 1 a.m.
So, God, where the hell are we? The next day is choir practice. Every single scene in this is just choir practice to choir practice to choir practice.
There's a big concert. They need their practice.
So the next thing they try is a brand new gambit. They're going to make Barney a soloist, but his soloism is going to be just recitations. He's just going to do like a little spoken word. And let me clear up the impetus for this.
Yes.
Is that somebody says, "How can someone sing so weirdly but talk so normal?" And no, have you listened to this man talk? What? Again, so many times in this episode, characters say things that make me go, Barney Fife, right?
They're talking about Thelma's Barney, the good twin.
The Barney that we know, like, you and I are talking about the same Barney.
Barney from Earth 2, yeah.
Yeah, they like, he talks so normal. No, he doesn't!
He always sounds like he's being electrocuted. Like low-grade electrocuted.
Don Knotts sounds like he swallowed a slide whistle as a child and it never came out. Well, hey there, Anna. Oh.
Don Knotts is constantly in a state of somebody squirting him with a garden hose. No!
Don Knotts constantly sounds like they just invented auto-tune, but they kind of have to use like a pipe organ for it. Like it doesn't really work yet.
If you play a Modest Mouse song backwards, it's just Don Knotts' regular speaking voice.
Yeah.
Don Knotts was the inspiration for the theremin.
Yeah, so, but, alright, when, there's a great moment in this where, Andy is like, so Barney, we're going to make you the soloist, and John Masters is, like, standing between them, and he immediately gets a look on his face of, like, I'm in hell. I didn't survive that car crash. I'm in hell, and I'm being tortured for something, because there's no other explanation for why this man would be doing this to me. Like, just pure, like, they're driving this man insane. This is all this is his job. This is all he has. And Andy is making it as insanely difficult as possible.
So they tell Barney, no, you're just going to recite. It's going to be your dramatic voice, and you're just going to recite lyrics to your solo. And Barney's like, that sucks. Mm-hmm. Okay. So they try to do this, and they sing, Welcome Spring Sweet Time. Welcome Sweet Springtime.
Nailed
again.
it.
Again.
Proper title, Voices of the Woods.
There we go. Nailed it. So Barney starts to recite, and of course he breaks into song about halfway through. And he does kind of the, like, Chris Kattan, the mango kind of thing. Like, why would you ever tell a bird to just talk? Would you tell a bird to go cheep, cheep, cheep? No! Such is Barney.
Did you actually reference the SNL skit Mango? Like,
yes, I did.
Honestly, I'm impressed that you referenced a Chris Kattan skit. I thought those had all been lost to time.
I actually really like the Mango skits. I don't know why they get me somewhere.
But this, I don't know why he's objecting so much. This is a recognized technique in musical performance dating back at least to Ordo Virtutum from 1151, the first morality play ever written, the ancestor of all opera. This was a show with like 47 parts, I want to say. And one of them was Satan, who only shouted. Everyone else sang.
Played by Ron Howard.
Medieval liturgical music.
You joke, but I would totally watch a play where Ron Howard played a screaming Satan. 100 child Ron Howard, to be specific.
Grant, that's what you get for trying to teach people stuff on our show.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to hear more about that, you can listen to a recent History Honeys episode called Two Playwrights.
Marty, don't bleep out the tie into his other podcast, but do bleep out all the information that he gave to our listeners. We can't have them learning things. If they get, like, slightly smarter, they will leave us.
So, Andy's got another plan. And his plan is fucking straight out of Singing in the Rain. His plan is that he's going to put a dead microphone on stage, and he's going to have Glenn Kripe singing into an offstage microphone. So I have a couple of questions. Number one, why isn't Glenn Kripe in the choir?
He is!
Okay, then...
He sneaks off during the show. He's in the choir. He's just their fucking baritone. So they're out of baritone.
Yeah, they clearly state that he's not a tenor, and he's definitely not. And Andy goes, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
I mean, apparently... So, here's the
Barney's
thing.
dumb. He believes the throat lump.
Yeah.
No, but apparently you can just have him sing anything.
Mhm.
Why did you even need a first tenor to begin with? If apparently you can just have your bass baritone.
Look, we're desperate, okay?
Yeah.
You can say all you want about this sitcom actually being a horror movie. No. This is a long-form improv exercise.
Okay, so...
The first portion, most of the cast didn't want there to be a plot, and the guy playing the choir director was trying to instigate. He's trying to do things behind people's backs and cause drama, and then the whole regular cast is telling him, nah, but then eventually Andy is like, fuck it, we're going full Milli Vanilli. You want a plot? I'll show you a goddamn plot. This is our story now. Fuck you.
Hold up, this should disqualify them from regionals. They're cheating.
They cheat. They risk disqualification. They risk ruining everything rather than tell a man that he's not very good at singing.
You made me realize that by mentioning Milli Vanilli. They've completely dishonored the art of the choir.
I want to take a quick sidetrack here. So Glenn Kripe is played by an actor and singer named Delos Jukis.
Mm-hmm.
And Delos Jukis he was a bass singer, and apparently he'd done obviously a bunch of Broadway stuff, but he was in a bunch of movie musicals. In the Ten Commandments, he's the voice of God. He's actually worked a couple times with Ron Howard and Don Knotts before. He was in The Music Man. And I found a lot of his information on famousmormons.net.
Oh, Jesus.
Because Delos Jukis also sang with the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. And altogether he was in about 300 films. And the comments from the ultra-reliable Mayberry Wiki about him feature a couple of people claiming that he was their uncle or grandfather. So good for them, commenters.
From a large and fertile family.
Sure, clearly. I mean, he probably had, 27 grandkids, so...
The Jukises spread far and wide.
Yeah, so Delos Jukis is on famousmormons.net.
500 years from now, 1 in 6 human beings will be descended from the Jukis line.
He's the Genghis Khan of America. Oh, Christ. So basically, I think the way this episode happened was, they came up with this set piece that they wanted to do.
Absolutely.
Would anyone like to hear some more Famous Mormons from famousmormons.net, or should we just leave that alone?
Lay them on me.
Yeah, I'm not opposed.
All right, so on the front page featured is Madeline Page, David Archuleta from American Idol, Dan Reynolds of Imagine Dragons, Steve Young, Lindsey Sterling, and Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney probably is the most famous Mormon.
Is the
Mitt
most
Romney's
famous
Mormon?
And he's listed 6th here. He got 6th billing.
Under Imagine Dragons. That's 80% of his identity as a human being that he's Mormon. And he didn't beat the Imagine Dragons guy.
Well, there's the most famous Mormons, and then there's the Mormons that we want to associate with. I feel like they had to put him on the list, but they tucked him down. They're like, you like bands? Do you like bands?
we gotta get these millennials. And what do these millennials like more than Imagine Dragons, their favorite band?
All right, that good. Good bit. I'm glad we did that one.
That was good. Yeah, so they basically, what they did was they came up with the idea of what if there was Barney singing, but also he thought he had a much deeper voice because a guy with a deeper voice was singing into a microphone off stage. Let's invent a problem that requires that solution. And then just worked backwards, which we've seen the Andy Griffith show do a couple times, where there's just like a weird thing they want to see happen, and then they create like a Rube Goldberg like episode to make that a requirement that requires several crazy leaps in logic. So, I mean, they say that they're going to do that plan, and then they do it, and it happens.
The way they pull this off is Andy tells Barney that this is like a special, super sensitive microphone.
At the rehearsal. The final rehearsal. Their dress, I guess. Their tech rehearsal.
Yeah. And so they point out this microphone and says, it's real sensitive. It's not plugged in now, but you gotta be real quiet. And they get him like down to the point where he's basically lip syncing. Or he's basically just, making zero noise. And Andy reassures Barney, that don't worry. Everything's gonna like appear. It's gonna come out over the loudspeaker and you're gonna hear yourself and it's gonna sound fantastic.
Did you notice
Gaslighting Part 2?
Did you notice the background actor between the two of them, another guy in the choir?
Tell us about it.
Oh my God, it's the best part of the episode. He is just watching this like comedy double act between the two of them and loving it. His eyes are going back and forth between Andy and Barney, and he starts to chuckle, and then by the end he's starting to break, and he turns away and has to cover like the lower part of his face with his hand so he doesn't ruin the shot. It's so good.
Is it the guy with the slick back hair and like he's like a really like broad jaw? Like
yes.
Yeah. No, that motherfucker. He's loving it. He's having the best time of his life in this scene.
He's got front row seats to an Andy Griffith comedy show, and he is loving life.
God, yeah, no. I think I imagine that the only reason he's still in is either A, they're like, well, the choir singers would be really enjoying this moment, or B, they were just like, we're drunk on highballs. Fuck it. I'm not reshooting this.
From his perspective, all he sees is the back of their head, so they must be really funny in real life.
Just the humor radiates off of them like pure energy.
Just like coming out of that bald spot and hitting him right in the funny bone.
This was the only take where they didn't actually pick up his raucous guffaws on the boom mic. They just had to roll with it. They ran out of videotape.
They actually have to like film the Andy Griffith show really carefully, because by the end of every single scene, all the crew members were just like having almost epileptic fits of pure humorous joy.
The key grit's job was to mop up the floor, all these people wetting themselves with laughter.
They could not film the Andy Griffith show in a carpeted area. They could not get insured.
So then, as Dan pointed out, it happens. Like, the plan works. The next scene is that we hear Delos Jukas.
It would be less suspicious if they use a phonograph. Like, if they use a recording. This, in the middle of the song, this dude in the back row just is like, sorry, excuse me. So, and he pieces out. And then a minute later.
And they picked the dude with the most distinctive voice.
Yes.
Like,
yes, they did.
They picked a guy that you would like, if you knew him at all, you'd be like, oh shit, that's Glenn Kripe. Like, that's clearly, I know what he sounds like.
Imagine
he sounds like God.
He sounds like Tony the Tiger grew a third testicle. Like,
imagine
I know what
Glenn
this dude
Kripe's
sounds like.
Family at this thing, just like singing, like, I'm so excited to watch Uncle Kripe sing. Where the fuck is he going? What? Why does this guy sound like my uncle now? What the fuck is happening?
Now that I think of it, my image for God is Tony the Tiger with 3 testicles. Yeah, that tracks. Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine a more benevolent, loving God than a tri-testicled tiger?
Hey, Tony, what's it like having 3 testicles?
It's not as great as you'd think.
I'm in chronic pain!
But Dan, you do have a good point. I mean, what we've learned is that this entire 400-person auditorium is at least 70% the grandchildren and nibblings of Glenn Cripes.
Yeah!
Yeah, there's so many Jukuses in the audience. Like,
and they're all just like, I guess I wasted my night because he's leaving?
Does Grandpa really have to pee now of all times?
It's cool. Grandpa told me I couldn't miss this, but I guess he can, so great. I canceled a date for this. Awesome.
I had to cancel 17 babysitters.
Yeah.
So they do the Jukus jive, and
and then everybody claps for Barney.
And Barney does not pick up that something is wrong or different. He is able to be convinced that that's just how the acoustics go. And
then they do that thing that's like always weird in movies where like the band comes together at the very end and they play one song and they're like, "Good night, Seattle," and I go, "That's not how concerts work."
Okay.
Yeah, they just peace out after the first song.
So this is the part in a horror movie where you have killed Jason. You trapped Jason and he got sucked into like the wheat thresher or whatever, and you're pretty sure he's dead. And then the stinger is the part after that in a horror movie where Jason bursts back through the floorboards and stabs you to death.
All right, no. I'm gonna say something about the stinger we're about to talk about. Like, I've mentioned how mean Andy is being. This is the meanest thing he's done to Barney on this entire show. And the show is clearly on his side. We're supposed to think that Andy's doing something clever and fine and dandy. But it is a mean fucking thing to do to your best friend. Like, so
Barney was just loving his time on the top. He has never enjoyed the sound of his own voice as much as he did that night when it was not his own voice. Just the way he gets into the song after overcoming his own moment of surprise is really funny. It's really good.
Yeah. No, Don Knotts' choices in this are very good.
So even now in the next day, yes, this stinger scene, he is riding high. He's on cloud 9.
I gotta say, credit where it's due. This is a very strong Knotts episode.
Oh, Knotts crushes it.
Yeah. But so the next day, he's really excited, and he's like, "Wow, I couldn't even believe that was me." And Andy like passes it off. It's like, "Well, you ever hear yourself on the telephone? You know, no one knows how they really sound." And Barney goes, "Yeah, I guess that's true. Boy, I'm looking forward to singing with the choir again." And Andy says, "Oh, well, I'm afraid you can't do that." Barney goes, "Well, why not?" And Andy says, "Well, you know the prize they gave you?" And Barney says, like, what, the like $10 gift certificate to like the general store? And Andy says, "Well, yeah, no, that means you're a paid singer now. You're a professional singer, and we can't have professional singers in the choir. It would mess everything up. So looks like you're forbidden to sing with us ever again, professional singer." And Barney's like disheartened about this for like 2 seconds. Like, he takes this really well, honestly.
We're gonna talk about this because I disagree pretty hard.
Well, he says it like, well, that's really upsetting and disappointing, but at least now I have a backup plan. If I don't have to be a deputy, I can always go into show business. And he smiles and everyone goes on. This is so mean. It's such a mean lie to tell someone. You're such a dick, Andy.
But it's the one time where he gets instant comeuppance because now Barney can never stop singing this awful song.
Yeah. That's the Jason bursting out from under the floorboards where he thinks he's dead, and then he's like, "But I need to sing all the time to you because I can't be in the choir anymore." Welcome to your
Andy built this labyrinth of lies in order to get what he wants, but he does not notice that he is trapped inside as well until it's too late.
He has built his own labyrinth. He becomes the Minotaur.
Juanita.
Should we keep talking while you do Juanita him, or
No, that's good. That's good.
So I would say that, like, I mean, Barney doesn't seem like too broken up about it. He's just like, oh, I'm going out on top. I legally can't sing with the choir anymore because I'm too good at singing. Fucking great. I don't think he's not, like, upset about it. I mean, Andy is ethically dubious, but not to Barney, to literally everybody other than Barney. He should buy John Masters a fucking car.
He should at least give Mr. Jukes a $10 gift certificate to the general store.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Mr. Jukes just got screwed out of, like, his prize that he rightfully earned.
He took 10 years off of John Masters' life with this bullshit to benefit Barney's ego.
He shrank another 2 inches over the course of this episode. That suit is hanging off him now.
Yeah, no, God.
He's basically a skeleton.
It's incredible that that he just didn't, like, slip out through the neck hole and it just didn't fall to the ground around him. This poor emaciated man that Andy almost killed. And Barney got a standing ovation. Barney's fine.
All right, so that seems like a good segue into ratings. Let's start with the Andy meter. How good is this episode? How much did you actually enjoy it? Grant, as our guest, you want to start off?
I mean, the big funny bits, the tech rehearsal and the performance were very funny. As a percentage of the entire runtime, that's not a great it's not a great endorsement, but 6 or 7. Yeah, let's give it a 7. I'm a glass half full guy today.
Dan?
So in terms of, like, making sense as an episode of television and being a cohesive story, I don't think it's very good. Like, it doesn't make any sense why the characters are doing any of the things they're doing. As a horror movie, which I again insist this is very good, I'm gonna put it as an 8. It's really good. There's a lot of, like, dramatic, like horror type tension, like with the doorbells and, like, the looks of dread that people are giving each other. So yeah, an 8 in that regard.
I'm gonna put this at about a 7. Because as rough as we are on Don Knotts and, like, how horrible the character of Barney Fife is, I always kind of enjoy it when Barney's behavior isn't really hurting anyone, and really the, like, shittiness comes from around him as a reaction to him, rather than being caused by him or him being the source of it. And when that's allowed to happen, Don Knotts is allowed to kind of let loose and create a character that's somewhat likable in certain instances, and he can really use his, like, lanky physicality for those big moments that Grant mentioned, which are, you know, again, pretty funny. So, grading on a curve, really, I'm going to go with a 7 as well. And moving on to the FIFO-meter, how, like, fucked up and how morally reprehensible is this episode, I gotta say, I still think it's incredibly mean-spirited what, like, Andy does at the end, and the show takes his side. Like, it's not, like, no felonies are committed on this, which is a weird bar that we have to, like, meet at this point.
Yeah.
So, nobody commits a felony, but they do, like, a man does gaslight the shit out of his best friend 3 times. And, like, they inconvenience everybody and also deny the Jukas family a beautiful moment so that they could protect, like, the feelings of this one dipshit, rather than just have any kind of, like, conflict whatsoever. I'm talking a lot to basically say, Fife score, I'm gonna say also a 7.
So,
yeah, it's not the worst, but it's shitty. It's real shitty.
Poor John Masters, like, is pushed to the brink of his sanity, which is very well acted by whoever the dude who plays John Masters is. I mean, we've talked a lot about, like, the insane lengths they go on this show to, like, not confront people about any negative information whatsoever. And this is, like, really the peak of that. So, I mean, like, yeah, no puppies get kicked in this episode, but, like, just, it's really deeply unsettling just what the fuck we see here. Because it's basically a bunch of people being put through hell for almost no reason whatsoever. Like, a bunch of people have to, like, go to clandestine choir practices and waste a shitload of time and do a bunch of really stupid bullshit for no reason. So, I guess, like, a 6?
By the way, the guy who plays John Masters, his name is Olin Soule. He was in a bunch of stuff. He was the voice of Batman on Super Friends.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah, apparently. And we're going to see him a couple more times. I guess there's a few more choir-based episodes. So we're going to see John Masters at least 4 or 5 more times.
He is the least Batman person ever. That's incredible.
Yeah. Super Friends.
That's
dude.
true, yeah. Grant, you're...
I mean, after the ending, I take a very different tack on this episode than either of you. Like, I agree that Andy was very cruel to his so-called friend, but like, if you look at what happened, Barney got everything he wanted. Even so, he got to have the performance of his life. He got recognition. He got $10. That's not nothing.
Yeah.
Mr. Jukas was clearly harmed, but for all of Andy's deceptions, all that he got was a headache for himself, painted himself in a corner where he can no longer try to deceive Barney away from singing in his ear 9 hours a day, every single day of his life. Like, he is getting his karmic comeuppance for his cruelty. So,
Huh.
Yeah, this is probably the first time we've seen Andy face consequences.
This might be the most morally consistent the show has ever been. Because, I mean, no, but
like, it is definitely sympathetic to Andy's motivations, but I think it reveals that his tactics are not always suited to the case. At least once, at least one time.
You know what I'm gonna say, though, is that Andy's crime for all the stupid shit that he did over the course of this episode, his punishment for that is the first scene of the episode.
Yeah.
So, Andy, for your crimes, you are deemed to the thing that was already happening anyway.
Well, yeah, this came out before Mobile Suit Gundam. We had to stick to the status quo.
Yeah. No, before Mobile Suit Gundam, there was no expectations that viewers had any sort of long-term memory. They were just like, these people have already forgotten the first half of the episode.
So I guess I'm saying Barney meter a 4.
All right,
4.
Fair point. I think I'm about ready to wrap us up here, folks. That's it for this episode. This episode was, of course, season 2, episode 20, Barney and the Choir.
We're gonna circle back and do Opie's Metal, because Opie's Metal is nothing, so we'll probably combine that with an episode that is something.
Yeah, we'll figure something out with that. Grant, thank you for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I had a good time.
Yeah, normally this is where I let people promote stuff. But we did that up front, so I'm going to promote our own stuff.
Oh,
no,
cool.
Grant, promote your stuff again.
Okay.
This is how it works.
If you liked hearing me talk about television, you can check out Sex Archie, where my wife and I do just that. We do Riverdale recaps, which is a show that everyone recognizes has a lot of wild shit in it. So it suits the treatment a little better. The third series just wrapped. By the time you're hearing this, it might already be out on Netflix streaming. So we are happy to be your companion and or replacement to see the best show on television. And they have the People's Choice Award to prove it.
Yeah, Marty, never let them not do endorsements of their stuff. This is the format of the show. We don't fuck with the formula.
And if you like me talking about old stuff, you can also hear my wife and I on History Honeys, alternating who is teaching who some fun stuff from the past. Like I mentioned, I have an actual play show called 6 Feet Under. I would really recommend the Monster Hearts 2 mini series we have going on. There's only 4 parts out now at this time, so it's not a big intimidating backlog, and I'm very proud of it. And you can check out chipandironicus.com, where my best buddy from high school and I play video games together. He does the playing, I do the talking, and he's also the funny one, so I don't know what my point is there.
That's where you can find Grant. If you want to find us on the internet, don't forget we are on Twitter at Break Mayberry, on Facebook.com/Breaking Mayberry. Instagram is Breaking Mayberry. On Twitter, I am at Schneid Remarks. That's SCHNEID Remarks.
I'm at the Luds, 2Ds.
Oh, Grant, where can we find you on the Twitter?
I'm at Gen, GEN _Ironicus, IRONICUS.
That's pretty much it for us. Remember, if you like the show, you can support us on Patreon. If you don't want to support us with your money, you can always give us a wonderful like, share, subscribe, share us with your friends. Those reviews, those ratings that you leave on the podcaster of your choice, but preferably Apple Podcasts, those really help the algorithm, put us into people's search engines and get us into the ears of other listeners. So that's a fun, simple, and easy way that you can support your local Breaking Mayberry. Other than that, don't forget that the music you heard before was done by Max Ludwig, who is on Twitter as @SleepTalkie. The music you're about to hear is Appalachian Coal Mines by the band Ask Again. That's it. That's all of our stuff. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with probably a combination episode. Until then, we will see you all down at the fishing hole.
Y'all come back now.
Something like that.
Yeah.